This is so sad. I call this my little Easter Island statue. It is the worst example of how to grow mushrooms you've ever seen in your life. Yeah, this is really bad. This was sent to me by the good folks over at gmushrooms.com. And they sent it to me because they thought that I would demonstrate how to grow mushrooms and I would enjoy the product. And I did enjoy doing it, but apparently I am too dense to follow instructions because these things come with instructions, and I have always been one that I hate instructions. I don't know why. Ever since I was a kid, I've hated instructions. I don't read them. I want to, but whenever I start seeing all this stuff on instructions, I tend to get a little bit distracted, bored, tired, hungry. I find a reason not to read them. And that explains why a lot of my furniture downstairs is kind of like, not the greatest in the world, because I don't read the instructions. I screw it up, then I go back and read the instructions, then I realize what a bozo I was. Same thing with this. I didn't read the instructions. I tried to, and I went halfway through them, so I thought I understood them, but I didn't. I drilled the holes this way, and you're supposed to stand it up like an Easter Island statue and drill holes in its head. Yeah, well, I didn't do that, and I laid it in this chest, you know, you saw the episode, and I really didn't do a good job. So I killed an entire mushroom block, and that just proves that I'm better than you, because I'm sure that nobody out there has done such a horrible job growing mushrooms. So that's one thing I do better than you. But the good folks over at G Mushrooms, I don't know what's wrong with them. They thought that I deserved another chance, and I do appreciate it, although I don't know why. They sent me this, and I didn't ask for it, and they didn't even tell me they were sending me anything. But they sent me another block, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you, folks. I'm sorry for ruining your product, and I thought I would be a good example to show folks how to use your product. But I guess I should probably be on a little side note on their page with a picture of me. Don't be this guy, because it is really important. And I'm going to be serious here for a second. It is important to read the instructions that this company sends you with their product, because you're paying for their product. And the least that you can do to help yourself is to read the instructions to know exactly how to use it. You know, I wasn't taking it serious with their little bag with the holes in it for the ventilation, and I did it wrong. I laid it sideways instead of standing it up, and I put it into a chest, which for some reason messes with the oxygen level. I basically had a whole list of things that I could do to screw it all up, and I used the whole list. So for the next block, which is, by the way, shiitake mushrooms, these were called Royal Trumpet, and they're really nice mushrooms, but these are shiitakes. These are a little bit easier to grow from what I understand, and even a dense fool like me is going to be able to grow these. I'm not going to do it on this episode. I just wanted to let you know, because I told you I was going to do an update. Well, sadly, this is the update. But Smart Ray over at the Ray Growtex channel on YouTube, he gave me some advice. He said, let it dry out, and then when you move to your new place, restart it up, and it might grow mushrooms. So I'm going to do that. All is not lost. So, ooh, and I have a sponge for this batch. I'm going to do that on the next episode, okay? I'm going to go through it step by step, and I'm going to do it the right way by following instructions, and I'm going to show you the right way on how to do these, and cross my fingers, hopefully this time I do not screw it up, because if I do, I really don't deserve another chance, because these folks have been so nice to me, and I have been so disrespectful to their product. I apologize, and I really do apologize. I need to just get a little bit serious sometimes, and I need to do things right. So I'm going to do that, and I got something else to show you, but that's not till the next episode. Not till next episode. This episode, I'm kind of getting them stacked up. I need to get them done. This episode, I promised you a full tour of the grow room, because you haven't seen one in forever, right? And I'm going to show you the plants in the grow room. So let's get started, okay? First one, first three. I need to show you these because I got a lot of heat from some angry viewers. Maybe not angry, maybe just a little bit frustrated with me, and I get people frustrated because I don't do things the normal way. I like to do things a little bit different. That's just how I work, and luckily it worked out for me. These are orchids, and a friend of mine was moving to another country, and I showed this a few episodes back. Actually more than a few episodes back. He sent me some plants of his. I got a whole big honking box of plants, and I planted them, and 3 of them were orchids. I've only grown one orchid in my life. I did a really good job of it, but I didn't do it the way that it was supposed to. And what I did with these is I just took them out of the plastic wrapper and I shoved them into my potting soil, and I hoped they would grow. And boy, did I hear it. A lot of people that grow orchids that do it a little bit better than I do, or do it professionally, they were posting like, you did it wrong, rip them out of that soil. You're not supposed to grow them in soil. You got to grow them in bark. You got to do this. You got to mist them. You got to hang them up on a wall. And oh, it went on and on and on. And I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And I didn't want to do that. I don't have any bark, and I didn't want to go buy any. So I thought, let them die. And I put them in the soil, and I put them underneath the light. And take a look at what somebody who can't even grow them. This one, if you want to refer back to the original video, it only had like maybe, I don't know, 3 leaves. This one, possibly this one, and another one. And I shoved it into the soil. It didn't really look like much. And to be honest, I almost threw it away because the bottom leaf started dying. And I thought, oh no, they're right. I screwed it up. Well, it grew this leaf, this leaf, this leaf, and I think it's starting to put in another one. I can't really tell because I don't have my glasses on, but it's doing just fine. It's setting out these, which are called, I guess, aerial roots or support roots. Yes, it's putting out those, but take a look. That is not the look of an orchid that's ready to die. That is the look of an orchid that's loving where it's living. And let me show you the next one. This is really cool. This one. It's looking really nice. It put out this big, beautiful leaf right here. It put out a leaf over here, and I believe it put one out over on the left. This one is doing extremely nice. You can tell that it's doing good. Look at all this green here, the strong, healthy look. It's not dying at all. And I got some comments saying, well, they may look nice now, but what they're doing is they're living off of the energy in their stem or roots or something, and they will die eventually. Just mark my words. Well, I marked your words and you were wrong. These plants have been going nice and strong in this soil, and they're doing fantastic, and I didn't follow the prescribed, whoops, well, you know what? This one grew so well, we're going to have to back you up, folks. Let me back you up just a little bit. Hold on. Okay, that's better. This one was an orchid that came attached to a piece of wood, and it had, I think, a little bit of moss around it. And that's it. And this one is not supposed to be grown in soil. I did hear that from everybody. But look what it did. I planted it in soil. It had these little tuber type things, but look what it did. These 2 tall stalks, which are taller, well, this one's taller than my hand, and then this one, and a little bit on the back one here. This is all brand spanking new growth. And let me tell you something, if this plant was living off the energy in its tubers or you know, these little stalk things, it wouldn't have grown so well. It just wouldn't have. And this is nice, healthy growth. This isn't anemic growth that's using the last of the energy. This is a beautiful, healthy orchid. So I wanted to show you these, not to brag, not to boast, not to throw it in people's faces. I wanted to show you this because I want to let you know, my motto up here in the Voodoo Room is that all things are possible. So even though I may not grow things exactly the way that the book says, I'm not trying to throw it back into the experts' faces. I'm just doing things a little bit different. And you can do things a little bit different. All things are possible. So if you don't know how to grow something, give it your best shot. Give it your best shot. That's the best you can do. And sometimes it works out. And most of the time for me, I guess I'm just lucky, things do work out because plants will find a way. This kind of looks like a lettuce plant crossed with a tobacco plant. And here's the child. That's a beauty, isn't it? This is a tree tomato. Somebody sent me seeds, and I showed you this once before. It was quite a bit smaller. But look at this. It's doing exceptionally well. The stalk is extremely strong, and by the way, this thing is growing so fast. After the filming today, I'm going to repot this into a larger pot because it's supposed to be a tree. And I'm sure eventually the stalk is going to get woody and this thing's going to just go bonzo crazy. And I don't want it doing it in this size pot because once it gets so tall, it gets a little bit harder to transplant, I'm sure. So I'm going to transplant this today while it's still easy to do. And then hopefully it's not going to grow too big by the time I move in a few months. But I love this plant. When you rub the leaves, it smells kind of funky. I don't know, it smells It smells like a tire. It does. It smells like a burnt tire. That's lovely. And but the fruit is supposed to be wonderful, so I'm just dying to get this thing to flower. This is going to be nice. Oh, it's not going to flower anytime in the near future, so have some patience. This ring of green here is a whole bunch of my little cocoa babies. Yep, I planted these from seed, and they're doing fantastic. I started them out in real teeny tiny cups, about this size, and they sprouted, grew really fast, and I kept them in there for quite a while, and then I transplanted them into here because they're going to need a lot more room. But to get them germinated, I just had them in a little tiny cup. They are doing fantastic in here, and by the way, if you're ever growing a cocoa tree, it can stay in a small pot for quite some time because the roots grow extremely slow. If I were to rip this up, the roots would only be about this big in diameter and about that deep. They don't grow really fast. Eventually, when it gets to going really big, it will put out roots a lot faster, but for right now, they are perfectly happy in a small pot. Nice thing about cocoa trees is they don't require a lot of light. You can put these in a regular room with a regular light or light shade, and they'll do just fine. They just need warmth and humidity. Those two things, they can't live without. So if you don't have warmth and humidity, don't even try it. What is that, a spider web? Ew. Okay, I'm going to stand here to give you some perspective. This is a pineapple plant. These are normally grown in plantations, and this is where you get pineapples at the grocery store. I think it was a few years ago, I took the top off a pineapple and I did a video for YouTube, and it did really well. A lot of people watched it, and a lot of people are growing pineapple plants because of that. I think that's great. But I took that pineapple top, I grew it in a pot, it got really huge, it got really, really huge, and then eventually, right out of the center, a stalk shot up, and it grew a pineapple on top, and I ate the pineapple. It was really good, and then I cut the top off and I planted that. So this is the daughter or son or daughter, I don't know what it is. It's the child of the original pineapple top, and it's growing extremely well. If you're going to grow a pineapple, they're really fun to do, a great novelty plant to have in your house, because not a lot of people have pineapples growing in the house. They just need regular light, and after about a year to 18 months, they will produce a stalk with a pineapple. And if they don't, take a little piece of apple, chop it off an apple, and throw it right into the crown here. Tuck it down in there, not too tight, and that will produce, I think it's called acetylene or some ethylene gas, and that will spur this into fruiting. Yep, that's how you get a pineapple to fruit. Okay, on to the next one. This is called, what is this? This is called some kind of, a cedra lemon. And if you want to Google it, it's really a fantastic plant. It's a lemon tree, and it smells like a lemon. The leaves smell good. But the thing that's different about a cedra lemon is, instead of producing regular lemons, it produces these huge, monstrous, gargantuan lemons. And I got some cedra lemon seeds. I planted them, and this is a surviving plant. It's doing extremely well. If you're going to grow it indoors, give it some bright light, but not direct sun, and keep the soil slightly moist. And that's about all there is to it. And it does take a few years for you to get fruit, so don't be in a rush. Directly to the right of the cedra lemon, we have a coffee plant. Yep, you've seen this before in quite a few episodes. This is my coffee tree. This is called Robusta coffee. I grew it from seed, and it's got a nice woody stalk down there and a nice display of leaves. These things can take a long, long time to sprout, like a month, month and a half, and I'm hoping that eventually this is going to produce coffee beans. No idea if it will, but I'm hoping it will. Okay, let's see if I can hold this still long enough to show you this. See that little stick plant growing right there? That is a date palm. Let me back up a little bit so you can see the whole plant. It's about maybe, I don't know, a foot tall. Yep. Somebody sent me some dates, and I planted the seeds, and I got two of these. Yep, I have one here and then one over there. These are date palms, and I know they're never going to be able to get full grown in this room or in this house because date palms are huge, but I'm at least growing them. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea. I didn't plan ahead. I never do, but that's a date palm growing in the voodoo room. Take a look at my twins. Actually, look right behind them. That's my vanilla. And the pot is clear over about maybe 3.5 feet over on the other side of this table, and it's grown all the way around the back and then all the way around here. That thing just will not stop. I don't know how long it takes the vanilla to flower, but it's really doing good in here. I should have hung it, you know, and then had it trail down, but I got lazy. Yeah, there's a surprise. And it just started growing around the plants, and since it's doing good, I'm not going to do anything to change what it's doing. I figure if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And these two things are called ice cream trees. Yep. And I think they're trees. I don't know if they're trees or vines, but somebody on YouTube, I forgot what it's, oh, Zep Collector. Yes, Zep Collector sent me a few of his seeds, and I'm growing ice cream trees. Yeah, because the fruit tastes like ice cream. It's supposed to taste like ice cream, so we'll find out. I'm going to grow these and keep them pruned, and hopefully I can get these things to fruit in here, but they're a beautiful plant, aren't they? Really nice, and they grow fast. I don't know why I planted two in here. Don't ask me questions. And right up from the ice cream trees, right over here, oh, try not to hit a light bulb. Avocado. A lot of you know what an avocado looks like, so this is nothing special. I grew an avocado last year, but it ended up dying. Don't know why. These things are kind of weird. Sometimes they'll grow extremely well, and then you come in the next day and the leaves are dying and you don't know why. I'm no different from you. I have no idea why these things do what they do. And this one's doing okay. It's nothing special. And I have another one right back there. See? I got two. And the weird thing is they're both the same size, but the one in the back is about maybe 2 months older. And they look exactly the same. Strange, strange plants. I don't understand them. See this little palm thingy hiding back behind the avocado? Yep. This is the one that I keep mispronouncing, and I'm going to go ahead and mispronounce it again. It's an acai palm, A-C-A-I. And every time I say that, I get a million comments. Yeah, you pronounce it wrong. I'm going to tell you how to pronounce it. Hey, guess what? Acai. See, I did it again. Okay, so now that I mispronounced it for those people who love to correct me, yeah, this is a palm tree that somebody sent me seeds for, and I've been growing it for the longest time, and it won't die. It seems to be doing good. I don't know why. I have never been good at growing palms, but apparently this plant didn't get the memo. Strange. Remember this plant? Let me back up. I'm going to give you a good shot of this. This is the Butcholokia. Yes. Remember that pepper plant that got really huge? It's almost as tall as me, and it was in the downstairs grow room? This is it. Yep. This is the same plant. Let me turn it sideways, and you can see what makes this plant, oh, so heavy. What makes it so special? Look at that stalk. Yep, it is like a tree. And I've been growing this, push you back there, for a few years. Actually about 2 years now. I grew it inside. I got it a decent size. I took it outside. It produced endless peppers. Wonderful stuff. Brought it inside. It grew really tall, and I really got tired of it just going all over the place in the downstairs grow room, so I gave it a real heavy pruning and brought it up here. It was nothing but sticks. And look, brand spanking new growth, because if you're growing your pepper plants and you're not happy with them, give them a good heavy pruning. It does nothing but good things for them. And that's what this thing is doing. And once I pruned it, it had lots of energy. So now it's starting to put out little tiny flower buds. Yep. I'm going to have peppers here in the grow room from the Jolokia. Once again, I think this is like, I don't know, the 4th or 5th fruiting that it's done in 2 years. This one here is about, I'd say, 2 feet tall from soil to tip. This is called the miracle fruit. And a miracle fruit, I've explained a few times, it produces little berries, and if you eat them, then you can eat something extremely sour like a lemon. Just bite into a lemon, and the lemon is going to taste sweet as sugar. Yep. And I keep watching this thing, and it hasn't fruited yet. I know that one of these days I'm going to come in here and there's going to be flowers on here because it's a decent size. I water it well, I feed it well, it gets plenty of light. So I'm sure one of these days we're going to get fruit from this, and I'm hoping I catch it on video. This is called a Buddha hand. Yep, I actually had a Buddha fruit once, and I showed it on video. It's a citron, which is a citrus. It looks like a lemon that is like a claw. It's a really creepy looking plant. It's called a Buddha hand. Go to Google and check it out. You'll agree. It is the strangest looking thing. And I ordered some seeds from Canada, and I don't remember who I got them from, so I'm really sorry about that. But I planted them, and boy, they were a pain in the butt to get to germinate. but I managed to get one to grow. So this has been grown from seed, and they grow just like any other citrus. They got these stupid thorns. That's just dumb. Thorns on a plant. But yep, it has thorns on it. It's really strange. The stems aren't just stems, they're actually leaf stems, and then there's a leaf on the end of it. So that's kind of cool, and I can't wait till this thing, well actually I can wait because I know it's going to be forever before this thing fruits, but until then, I'm enjoying it. It's a really good looking plant. Smells good too. Welcome to the downstairs voodoo room, folks. This plant on the left is a fig. Yep, I don't remember what kind of fig it is, but somebody sent me some fig stems, actually little fig trees. Remember those? Yep, I planted them, and here's one of them. It's doing extremely well. I don't know what I'm doing right. I wish I could give you advice on how to grow figs. All I did was I planted it into a pot with my potting mix that I've explained before. It's, I believe, half cocoa peat, half potting mix with a heavy sprinkling of vermiculite. I water my plants. By the way, my watering schedule for all my plants is exactly the same. I water them extremely well, then I let soil dry out, then I water them again. And this plant seems to do just fine. I mean, I don't know. Second in the downstairs voodoo room is my baobab tree. The thing about baobab trees is normally they grow, I believe, in Africa. And the stalk, you know, the trunk, gets extremely fat. Look at this. See that? It's kind of bulbous. Oh, I'm trying to hold the camera and move my left hand. Look at that. It's turning into this bulby looking thing. Kind of strange, isn't it? If you Google these things, they are a funky, funky looking tree. This one is doing extremely well downstairs in the voodoo room. I have some bright lights, and let me move this camera up so you may want to squint a little bit. These are the kind of lights I have in here. I have, I think, about 9 lights with adjustable socket things that I can hang them from, depending on how high I need them. And I also, let me swing to the left. I'm not much of a cameraman, sorry about that. I have blinds, and I open these during the day. So it lets in some direct sunshine. So these things get a lot of heat, a lot of direct light, and they do really well. This room is for the plants that require a little bit more light and a little bit more heat than the upstairs grow room. This poor, sad looking thing is my night blooming jasmine. The night blooming jasmine puts out a really wonderful smell. It was growing extremely, extremely huge, and I had to cut it back. It was just taking over this room, and it was laying branches down on everything, and it was really getting to be kind of a hog. So I had to cut it back. But it's growing back. Pruning does really wonderful stuff. Look at this. A lot of nice growth. Next to the jasmine, this is my orange tree. I grew this from an orange from the grocery store. I started this, I believe, over a year ago from seed, and it grew extremely well, and I was training the branches to go down. Remember that? I was training the branches to go down, and then I thought, I don't want to do that anymore. So I chopped everything off. I literally chopped it all off to this nub, and there was nothing growing out of it, nothing but a stem. And then I got this, and this has grown in the last few months. It's done really, really well. I like the new growth on this. It's a little bit sturdier. It's going to be a little bit more believable than the last part. It was getting a little top heavy, and that isn't good for a plant. And let me really raise this. This is going to be a little shaky. Sorry if I'm making you seasick, but I have to get way up here to show this. This is a Christmas cactus. Yep. This is my Christmas cactus I've been growing for years and years and years, and people have seen it and they just love it. So I wanted to include this on the full tour. It goes through times when it isn't growing anything, and then all of a sudden, boom, it flowers, and then it starts growing. So there is the Christmas cactus. Yep, it's alive and well. One of my largest plants over here is my cocoa tree. I recently did a pruning on this. Yep, I pruned the branches back a couple feet because they were getting a little bit tall and they were starting to hit the lights. So I pruned it back, and let me see if I can get the whole width. Now, by the way, once you start growing cocoa trees, you'll notice that once they get tall, they start flowering. See all those flowers on the stem? Endless flowers. They're not pollinating each other, and I think I need to grow another one in order to get it to do that. But somebody also told me, you got to wait at least 3 years before this thing produces fruit. So I still have plenty of time. I think this is only a couple years old. Once they get going, remember I showed you the ones upstairs, they're really tiny? They take forever to get going, but once they get going, let me show you the pot. That thing is huge. That's the biggest pot I have. Yep, the stem gets really fat and they just go nuts. This strange looking thing in the corner is a bird of paradise, and it is now 4 feet tall and it still hasn't flowered. And I guess I'm okay with that. One of these days it's going to flower. And I always thought bird of paradise was a smaller plant, you know, that you could put on a table. Apparently they're not. This one is 4 feet tall and it's got a spread of almost 3 feet. It's doing really good, but it just hasn't flowered yet. This one I'm not quite sure of. It lost a lot of leaves. Take a look at that. How sad is that? Yep, it lost a lot of leaves, but then when I thought it was dead, I thought it was nothing but a dead stick. It put out a whole new bunch of leaves. This is a dwarf Georgia peach. Yep, and it seems to be doing a lot better. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know what I'm doing right. So no advice on that one. Really sorry, folks. You know, I try not to play favorites with my plants, but I gotta admit, this scorpion, this is some kind of scorpion pepper. It's like the Jolokia, it's extremely hot. Yeah, I've been growing this for about as long as the Jolokia, maybe a little bit less. And it has an extremely thick stem down here. It was growing huge. It was just, I don't know, 5 feet tall and about 4 feet wide. It was a monster. And then I trimmed it down and I formed a tree out of it. Remember that? It was just one tall stem. Well, that fell over and it didn't work out. So I did it again. Yep. I pruned it back, and now I have another tree growing. Yep, this is a pepper tree. It is now about 3.5 feet tall, and what I do is I put it on this little stool over here, and then I turn a fan on, and I keep a fan on, and what the fan does is it keeps it doing this, back and forth all day, and that strengthens up the stem, and it really does work. Yeah, it does. I know it costs energy to keep the fan going, but then again, this room pays for itself because people watch the videos and they enjoy them. So I use that money to pay for electricity, and it keeps this going back and forth, and when a plant does that, it strengthens the stem. So that's what I'm practicing right now. And the best for last, this is a beauty. Stem is as big around as my wrist, actually bigger than my wrist. I have small wrists. But take a look at this. Do you know what it is? Okay, you're guessing right now. It's a banana. Yep. This is my Zebrina banana, or blood banana. When I got it, it was just this little twig of a banana. You saw me unbox these things and I planted it. It only had like a couple torn leaves when it came out of the package. It looked like a cat that went through the ringer. It was awful. But now, let me move the camera up. I'm going to show you what it's done. What do you think? I love this plant. It just goes on and it just won't stop growing. You know what's really weird about this is it was supposed to be a dwarf. Yeah, it was supposed to be a dwarf, and apparently, I don't know, it decided it didn't want to be a dwarf anymore. It's growing new leaves like you wouldn't believe. It puts out maybe 1 leaf every 1.5 to 2 weeks. That is fast. And I know that banana trees are supposed to grow fast, but I didn't know they were going to grow that fast. And it's loving it here in the Voodoo Room. The only problem is it's really spreading. It's really getting huge. It's going to rival the cocoa tree pretty soon. Look at this. We have the banana tree right there, and then right over there we got the cocoa tree. They're going to be fighting for space. I love this plant. I really do. I am sold on banana plants. Well, everybody, thank you for joining me in the Voodoo Garden for this grand tour. I hope you did like it. I enjoyed doing it for you. And don't forget, next week, tune in to the Voodoo Garden because I'm going to do this mushroom kit and I'm going to follow the directions. Yes, I'm going to follow the directions. I'm going to actually do it today, and I'm going to film it today, do it exactly right, and hopefully by next week or maybe the week after that, I don't know when, but hopefully by next week I'm going to have some growth on here. So I'm going to do like a time-lapse thing, and that's going to be kind of fun. So I'm going to film that now. Tune into the next Voodoo Garden to see what is going on here, and also I got a little something here, and you've probably seen this on the Praxis channel, but in about maybe a week and a half, they're going to be hatching, and they're going to be up here in the Voodoo Garden, so it's going to be a little bit fun, it's going to be a little bit loud, and I'm going to just enjoy the heck out of it, because you know me, I love baby chicks, and I love growing stuff, so I'm putting them both together, and it's going to make the Voodoo Garden even that much funner. So, that is what's going to happen in the Voodoo Garden. Thanks everybody for joining me, I really do appreciate it. I'm out of here. Well, I really...